at the end of the day, in life, anything is possible. If you really want to, if your mind is set to it, you just do it. The field of possibilities are so limitless. I feel like I can do anything here.
Has the people you hang out with changed?
In whatever I want to become great at or good at, I have somebody that has experience and that tells me, okay, this is the way. Like,
this is a fucking vibe. This is so good. How would you like to be remembered?
Wow.
Welcome to Abnormal, the podcast for normal people who want to do abnormal things. My guest today defines what it is to do abnormal things, from having a career as a qualified civil engineer to packing it all in to pursue her dreams in dance and content creation, and spreading awareness of truly important topics like racial diversity. Anisha, welcome to Abnormal.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, obviously your content now, your career now is very dance-centric and content creation. You've got the Mixies Academy, which is your business. But in the intro there, and when I was doing my research, you're a fully qualified civil engineer. What was it about civil engineering that brought you to that first career?
To be honest with you, I think I wanted to have a stable career, like something seen as stable in this society. So, and at first I thought about, being a consultant and all that stuff, but it's pretty abstract for me. So I want something a bit more grounded, something that I can see, something that I can build with my hand. So I was like, okay, civil engineer sounds good. Like, you build a building, it stays there forever. I mean, forever, for a few decades. And you can look at the results and you're like, oh, I did that. I was part of this big project. So that's why I did it. Yeah.
And because civil engineering is a very good career. It's a very hard thing to be qualified for. But now you're a professional dancer.
Yeah.
So was there that struggle when you were a kid between I want to dance for a living versus being told what you should be doing and having a proper job and a real job?
I feel like I've always grown up in, I would say, that conflict, that inside conflict of mine. I knew deep inside that I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to express myself. I want to feel the energy of the crowd. I want to give that energy. But at the same time, all the people around me, whether it's like school, parents, friends, were telling me, no, it's just too hard. Like, you should just be realistic and follow a safe path. So it's so conflicting because deep inside, you know what you want, but you have to live the outside world. You have to play the game also, and able to, survive, prove something to your parents, your family. So yeah, and then one day I realized, maybe we'll get there later.
I'm looking forward to getting to that stage. But no, I was really, really interested when I was doing my research because I think your path and your progression is typical of someone who's still trying to chase their dreams. Because, as you said, a lot of people will go down that traditional first career path.
Yeah.
And then try and transition over to what they really want to do or what they were dreaming of as a child. So was being can I define you as a professional dancer?
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Yeah, that is one of your titles. Was being a professional dancer something that you thought was actually possible when you were growing up?
I think so, because I was, when you grow up, you tend to look for models around you. So I was actively searching for people that I look up to, that I want to resemble in the future. So I saw a few examples of professional dancers. But for me, the issue is that I also wanted to prove myself that I can do something that I'm not good at, that I'm not naturally gifted at. So, for example, mathematics, physics. Like, when I was younger, I would have never thought that I could become a civil engineer because usually it's seen as something like male job, or because, I don't know, it's just so complex. It requires a lot of studies and everything. So I love challenges in general, and I knew down the road that I would definitely go to the dancing somehow, even if it's like half part-time or whatever. But in the meantime, I was like, I'm young. I want to grow. I want to go outside of my comfort zone. And I want to see how far I can go, in terms of my abilities, intellectual, physical, everything. So that's why I made the decision to also go down the civil engineering route because, yeah, I just want to prove myself. Yeah.
It's funny. Some people will, run a 5K or something to prove themselves. You've become a fully qualified civil engineer to prove something to yourself, which I think is awesome. And you mentioned there the importance of models or role models. For me, for example, growing up there, I always wanted to be a professional rugby player. Like since I was 5 years old, that was my dream. And it used to infuriate me when I was going through school doing like career counseling, and they say, be realistic. What are you actually going to do? But I had a lot of role models because rugby is a professional sport. It's everywhere. So I knew what I wanted to achieve. Whereas in your scenario, being a professional dancer, I'd say there's probably fewer than like professional rugby players or other sports. But then even streamlining further, being a pro dancer whilst also being a qualified civil engineer, did you have any role models in your life that had kind of not done the exact same too, but had done something traditional and then gone into following the professional dance path?
It was tough because at that time, like 17 years old, the only people that I talked to were either, so they were dancers and then they switched into like a corporate jobs.
So the other way around to you.
Yeah, or they were dancers and they've always been dancers since the beginning. So it was hard for me to design that role model actually in my head. I was like, okay, since there's nobody around me, let me give it a try. There's no other choice. So I really try to collect people's thought, not people's thought, but people's experience, and try to understand if it was feasible somehow. But I think my decision was the result of a 10 years planning, because it didn't happen overnight for sure. It was constantly me absorbing information, questioning people, networking somehow, trying to audition to casting to see how I feel. So it was definitely continuous work, 100%.
And did you always have the self-belief that you could do it?
So I'm very blessed and lucky to, I think some people have a gift. Some people sleep on their gift. Some people work on their gift, Thank God I was gifted when I was younger. So a lot of people told me, hey, like since I was 5, hey, your daughter, like to my mom, hey, your daughter has something. She has a big potential in dancing. I remember when I was 12, they put me already in the not advanced, but the adult class in dancing instead of me staying in the kids. So to me, I saw that I had something. So, sorry, your question was... Sorry, it's still the morning.
Yeah, it's still the morning. Did you always believe that you could do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Do you think that's completely coming from you, or were there external factors having that influence over you?
It was a mix of both. I think getting that feedback from other people, but also me gradually building my self-confidence through my achievements and everything made me understand that, hey, it's possible. At the end of the day, in life, anything is possible. If you really want to, if your mind is set to it, you just do it. To me right now, the way I see dance and my artistic career is almost like an obsession, to be honest with you. Like there's no other options. There's no option B, C, D. I mean, of course there is, realistically speaking, but I'm not focusing on them. So it's like there's one way. And every morning I tell myself, hey, you're going to be the greatest performer ever. And make sure that you will get there. I already see the result, I always see where I'm going, to be honest. And I think, to be honest with you, let me tell you a secret. Since I was like 5, I always, when you have your birthday cake and you have to make a wish. To me, it's always the same wish. I'm not going to say
Don't tell me the wish. Don't tell me the wish, because I'm a big believer. You can't tell me the wish, otherwise it won't come true.
It's always the same wish. And what I can tell is that wish has been helping me to stay in that lane and stay focused. 100%.
That's really good insights. We talk about there about like self-belief and only having one option. And we're going to get into it, but since we've touched on being a civil engineer already, we'll talk about that transition. It's obviously something I'm currently thinking about is what actually is the worst case scenario? Like, what does that look like? Like when I'm going through my life and I'm mapping out, right, best case scenario, even the next year, best case, median case, worst case. I've kind of convinced myself that the worst case isn't even that bad anyway. Worst case is you commit time to something and you lose time.
Yeah.
Whereas worst case is, right, in even 5 years' time, you could always, or I could always go back and get a job. If it doesn't work out, I can go back and get a job. Do you ever think about what is the worst case scenario for you?
Yeah, 100%.
And what is that worst case scenario?
Yeah, whenever I'm feeling really low or, yeah, very low, I would say. So currently right now I live by myself in Hong Kong, independent. I do my own thing. I have my businesses. I work as a professional dancer. But worst case, yeah, I tell myself, okay, if I can't provide for myself here, I'll just go back home in Paris. And I'll stay at my parents. And I'll just get a civil engineering job. I got my master's, like I'll just go back to it. That would be the worst case. To me, that would be like my failure. But if it happens, then it happens, but it won't.
Exactly. And I don't want to shed too much light on that, because I'm not saying, failure is what's going to happen. But when I think about situations like that, it actually gives me more confidence, because if you're saying that is your worst case scenario, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like, let's be real. It's actually, some people, this is what the rut I'm getting myself into at the moment. A lot of people would die to be in that position. A lot of people would really, really love to be living in Paris, being a civil engineer.
For real?
So, and I'm not saying that that's a knock on you at all, but it gives me confidence when I think of stuff like that. Because when you say worst case scenario, actually worst case scenario is, someone you love is not healthy, or you're knocked out on the streets, or something bad's happening, right? If it's a work thing, you're like, okay, yeah, I can go, you're a qualified civil engineer. I can go be a civil engineer for the rest of my life if I want to. So for me, or for you, like, that gives me a lot of confidence in pursuing your dream, and then thinking the best case scenario could be better than you even ever imagined. And
100%.
So you said your morning routine, or you tell yourself every day. What is that morning routine look like in your life, and how does that sort of positive affirmations fit in?
Okay, so there was 2 phases in my life after quitting that job. The first 2-3 years, it was a struggle for me to find that routine. Like, I was waking up in the morning. Every morning was completely chaotic. Like, I wake up, I stay on my phone, and then I don't know what to do. Like, nothing was planned. I was just going with the flow, because you come from a place where you had a schedule. You had to be at work at 8 a.m. in the morning. Like, everything was super scheduled, to the point where you are free. You don't have any limitation. You don't have any constraints, any manager that tell you do this, do that. So I went from 0 to 100, or 100 to 0. I don't know.
Yeah. Which one of those two?
Yeah, one of those two. So I was, I struggled. I really struggled. And then I realized that I need discipline. I need planning. I need scheduling. Like, I love my freedom, but freedom is actually to be disciplined, is to love yourself through every single committed action that you decide to do every day. So right now, the first thing that I do when I wake up, I scroll a little bit, but less than before.
Good honesty.
Yes. I tell myself, okay, time is passing by. You got to do it. So I wake up. I take my vitamins, some sugar, because I love sugar. And then...
That's a French thing, I think.
Maybe. I used to... the only reason that made me wake up when I was a kid was to eat like a pain au chocolat.
Chocolatine.
No, pain au chocolat.
It's a Southwest thing, I think. Chocolatine.
Yes. I don't understand what chocolatine is. But now that we have less pain au chocolat here in Hong Kong, I just wake up, get my sugar, and then open my notebook and write down hour per hour what I need to do. Like 8 a.m., I need to be here. 9 a.m., gym. 10 a.m., da-da-da-da-da. And I really break down every single task that I need to do. Because, the feeling of scrapping, like, ticking that box after you're done is so fulfilling. You're like, oh my God, I'm getting there, like step by step, baby step, but I'm getting there. So that's what I do. And I use a lot of colors, because I love colors. I love, shine, like, I don't know. I love colors in general. So I make sure that it's fun. It's a fun process. Like, when I wake up also, I choose like colorful outfit, because it makes me in the mood. And yeah, make sure that everything is playful and fun at the same time, even if it's challenging.
But this was a 2-year process. You said after you Okay, so let's go one step. So you quit your civil engineering job. What was that because you won one of the dance competitions on TV? So that was the trigger to say, right, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And then the next day or very soon after, you decided enough's enough. Quit civil engineering. Let's chase the dream. 100%. And it was like that. It was as quick as like that.
Literally,
and you hadn't been thinking about it before that competition.
No, I've been thinking about it. To be honest,
it's always been in the back of the mind.
To be honest with you, so I was working as a civil engineer and I was participating in that TV dance competition. It lasted 2 months of recording and everything. Yeah, it was very intense because, you go to work 8 a.m., you finish at 7 p.m. and then you go straight into rehearsal 9 a.m. till 1 a.m. and then you shoot 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So every day was almost like that, So I was dying physically, mentally, everywhere. And then it got to a point where in my head I was like, I can't do this. Like I need to make a choice, and whatever the outcome of this competition, like I really need to take action to be able to just focus on one. If I want to be great at something, I need to focus on one, And I won. I won the TV dance competition. And to me, that was the big sign. That was like, to me, it was like, Anisha, this is your path. Take it or leave it, but you won't have this opportunity every day. So when I saw that, I just took it and I told my company, hey guys, I won TV dance competition. I'm going to become a dancer. And then they say, oh yeah, we saw you on TV. Yeah, we saw.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Were they good about it?
Yeah, they were quite supportive actually. They were like, yeah, we could tell that you were losing motivation at work, arriving late every morning.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. No, really, I think they saw it coming for sure.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's a great piece of external validation for your talents. Like we spoke earlier about how confident you are in your own abilities, which is incredibly important. But every now and then, it's great to get some external validation as proof to be like, okay, I'm onto something here. I'm not an idiot. I'm not delusional. This is my path. I'm onto something.
Yeah.
So you go full time and go full time on your dream, and then you say you're a bit lost in your daily routine. You say for about 1 to 2 years, you didn't more than 2 years. You didn't really have much structure in your days. You're kind of flowing through. It must be a very difficult transition. But in your career in dancing, you seem like very disciplined when it comes to dance. So like when you're coming up with choreography and running classes and now running your business, like there needs to be a real level of discipline in order for things to move forward and be successful. I think it's the same with a lot of athletes. A lot of athletes are very disciplined, but then when it comes to other things outside of that sport, it's like, oh shit, what do I do? So was there an aha moment where you're like, right, I've got this discipline in one area of my life. It's about time, Anisha. You need to bring this into other areas of life so that you can move things forward.
Yeah, 100%. The funny thing about dance is that it's an art and it's a sport. So you can feel super free within your art when you freestyle, for example. But if you want to be good at it, you got to train also. So you have those two opposite concepts of like being super disciplined and being an athlete, but at the same time being an artist and feeling free and, exploring like the limit of your art. So it's always that contradiction. But 100%. So the question is, how did I get to that discipline, or how did it come? Right? Like I'm just trying to make sure I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Sorry, no, because I'm thinking some interviews, of politicians, like they always ask us.
Yeah. I need to remember the questions now.
I don't want to be like that. Okay.
Just be direct.
Yeah. But I think that discipline, I've always had it somehow since I was a kid, because I did ballet. I started with ballet, and I remember I hated it. I really hated ballet. To me, I wanted to dance like Michael Jackson. I didn't want to dance like a freaking ballerina. I didn't care. So I've always had this in me. But to me, it was like, if you want to make it, you got to show up for yourself. You got to stand for yourself. You got to make sure that you are in control of maybe not the result, but at least the process, So it's constantly reminding myself, why are you doing this? What is your motivation? How do you see yourself in the future? And how can you impact that result with what you have right now. So it's about living in the moment, but staying focused, to be honest, is not easy. There's moments where I just like go crazy and like I don't want to do anything. I'm going the moments the numbers of times I really broke down or I just like lost control were there's so many, like I can't even count it, because the issue is that you're doing your passion, you're enjoying yourself, but you're working all the freaking time. Me, I have a problem with balance. I'm a workaholic. I love working because I love doing what I do. But there's some times where my body or my mind tells me, yo, you nonstop. You never stop. You never pause. Even if you love what you're doing, you never pause. And this is a problem. So I end up like in situations where I isolate myself out of nowhere during vacation with my friends. I isolate myself because I need my time to just like disconnect. Or at home, I end up like playing The Sims
Sims, there you
for
go.
like 6 hours, you know?
Like everyone has their vices, you know.
Yeah,
You need something.
it's crazy. So now I'm learning how to really balance and find time for myself, at least like half a day, because we need to think about long term. You know? Yeah.
And we're talking about long-term visions here, building towards the future.
Yeah.
What does the future look like for you? What's your outcome out of all of this?
Wow. What is the future? Mm, I guess I'll continue, working towards the best version of myself, because obviously I don't think there's one point in life where you're like, okay, I'm set. I'm done with whatever I wanted to do. I think I will constantly try to do better somehow. But of course, my business would be better in terms of bigger. Like I would have built an empire, I think. Yeah, I'd be at that stage.
I think when you're working on stuff like yourself, where it doesn't seem like there is, as you said, a definitive endpoint, because your business is also your passion, is also what you are a professional of.
Yeah.
So it's all encompassing. You're also an ambassador for all these amazing causes. So that doesn't just, as you said, you don't just wake up and that stops suddenly.
Yeah.
You know, oh, yeah, okay, I've done enough. I've made it. You are this, figurehead. You run your own business, but it's also the thing you love to do. So it's like, okay, keep rolling that, see where it goes. Is there anything outside of what we've spoken about, in terms of outside the dance world, content creation, that you would like to really give a go in the future? You can be as crazy as you want on this one.
Wow. It's still related to dance and everything, I guess, but I'm working towards building my artistry in terms of like adding new component into what I'm doing, such as creating music, singing, and everything. So to me, that is the big picture that I'm currently working on.
I love that. And we asked a similar question to Lu, and she said singing as well, which was interesting. I thought maybe yours might be something to do with being an actress or something on TV or movies.
No,
Has that ever been something that's crossed your mind, or something you wanted to do?
Always, since day one. Yeah, I mean day one. When I was 5 or 6, definitely. When I was looking at those music videos, yeah, I wanted definitely to reach that stage, but I didn't know how. But now I'm like transitioning again, slowly.
And now you've got the platform. You've got a platform, a good platform.
Very important.
So building towards these things that you want to do, whether it's singing, creating music, being an actress, these things suddenly feel a bit more possible when you've already achieved some stuff that you've said you wanted to achieve. Whereas when you're starting from, right, I'm a civil engineer, I haven't won a dance competition yet, or on TV, I haven't got this fame or this platform, then it seems like this huge uphill battle that you're like, right, there's my dream, I'm nowhere near there, I've got to take the first step. Whereas now you've already taken the first several steps.
100%.
And so has that kind of opened your eyes to the world and be like, I thought this was my dream, running my own Mixies Dance Academy, and that's my business. I thought that was my dream, when actually, now that I'm here, like I can do so much more.
Oh yeah, it's very eye-opening. Like I feel like there's no limits, there's no walls anymore. Like I can break them 100%. I feel like if I really want something, then it's all about committing. and never giving up. But yeah, I guess it's a bridge that you have to jump, and step by step, again, you have to build like as if you're building a house. You're not like starting with the roof, you're starting with the foundation first, and then slowly you add a brick, and then you get closer to the roof.
So that's where the civil engineering comes in handy.
Yeah.
Always bridge analogies. But I mean, seriously, having been a qualified civil engineer, that must give you the level of confidence that you're like, okay, if I put a plan in place, I work hard, I stay disciplined, I know that I can achieve this, because as you said, you literally became a civil engineer to prove something to yourself.
Yeah.
So doing things like music or dance or singing, that's stuff in your wheelhouse anyway.
Yeah.
So you know that you're capable of it.
No, that's a very good comment, because what do I want to say? I think sometimes, to be honest with you, I tell myself, oh my God, maybe I should have started sooner to become a dancer, to being in that realm. But then I'm like, if I didn't do civil engineer, I don't think I would have got that confidence and that, those balls to just jump like that, or to just do whatever I want. I think, I don't know, it gives you an extra, definitely, confidence. And also all the skills that I learned in that job, I can apply it in my dancing. And maybe dancers don't have that, and they don't do things this way because they're missing that, right? So as you said, I'm like, I plan things, I'm disciplined. I use Excel spreadsheet for everything. Like, it's crazy, guys, crazy. Whenever I have to make a decision, I just take a white piece of paper, I draw a line, yes, pros, cons, and then I'm very analytic. And in everything that I do, I'm super analytic. And I learned how to plan, construction work of a building. I learned how to plan like a budget for it, so I can really apply all that into my business. So it was not time wasted. It was definitely great. It's just that I started later than others in dancing. And I'm not going to say my age, but it's a secret. Everybody pressures me with that, but I'm not going to say it. I started later, but again, it's never too late. At the end of the day, age is just a number.
Exactly. And I mean, especially if you're a pro dancer, like you're not going to age like the rest of us. You're staying fit and healthy every day. Okay, so I do want to touch on a few other things as well. I came across the term fairly recently, and when I was talking to J. Lou, third culture kid.
Oh, yeah.
So when I was listening to her talks and things and watching her content, she talks a lot about that, and a lot of her content is based off that. In one of your talks online, you talk about third culture kid, but then you actually mentioned world culture kid. Can you just explain what you mean by world culture kid?
Right. We live in a society where I feel like there's no more boundaries between countries, the way we think. We're all connected somehow. We have always been connected. It's just that now it's becoming more obvious, in the way we like. I feel like, okay, so I define myself as a third culture kid for sure, because I grew up in Paris. My parents are not even coming from France, so I'm really navigating through, I would say, three cultures. Like,
where are your parents from?
So my mom is from Comoros Island. So it's a little island close to Madagascar. My dad is from Vietnam, and I grew up in Paris. So I have all these different cultures. But at the same time, I made the decision to leave France and start traveling, living in South Africa, London, and then Hong Kong. So I believe all these different experiences have enriched me in a way and have shaped the way I'm thinking right now. So it's hard for me to say that I'm just a third culture kid. I'm a word culture kid, because, again, the way I think is influenced by when I was living in South Africa, by when, here in Hong Kong, things are so fast, so efficient. Now I'm becoming a bit like that, I've absorbed that side of, and I'm still French because, of course, I complain sometimes. I like my pain au chocolat. But you know what I mean? Like, we're like sponges at the end of the day. We absorb whatever we feel we relate to, So, yeah, even yourself. I'm sure you're a work culture kid. You're married to a French lady, so I'm sure it has an impact on you.
Huge impact. Yeah. Huge impact.
Chocolat. Yeah, so, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think especially for the audience in Hong Kong, very relatable, because my story is nowhere near as interesting as yours. I grew up in the UK, born and raised in the UK, very British family, as you can tell. But even coming to Hong Kong, I feel like I've taken a lot from living in Hong Kong, and I love being here. And I don't want to say that it's more home than the UK at the moment. I've been here 4 years, but whenever I'm coming back from London to Hong Kong, I'm always happy because I feel like I'm coming home, you know? So I love our apartment here. I love my life here. I love my friends. I love it when my family comes to visit. But as you said, we're like sponges, right? So everywhere you live, everywhere you visit, you take something from that experience. You mentioned the pace of Hong Kong. Is there anything else about Hong Kong that you've really absorbed and taken into your life?
Wow. You know what I love about Hong Kong is that when you want to start, for example, a new business, nobody's going to tell you you won't succeed. It's not going to happen. Don't do it. No, actually, they help you. They're like, okay, set up your business. It takes one business day, and then the next day you have the papers, and then it's very encouraging. Actually, it is a business-driven city. It is a money-driven city, of course. But what I'm saying is that the field of possibilities are so limitless. I feel like I can do anything here. Whereas, like in other countries, such as France, for example, the mindset is a bit different, and they tend to yeah, it's different. It's not as encouraging, maybe.
I'm not sure if I should say this, but here we go. French culture for me, I mean, my wife's French, so I've been around it. But even, as you say, in Hong Kong, I feel like people are so positive, but they encourage your dream. So you want to set up a business? Okay, here's how we're going to do that. Good luck. Maybe I can help you introduce you to this person.
Yeah.
Not just France, but maybe other Western countries, UK as well. It's like I'll say things to my brother, for example, and he'll list 100 reasons why it won't work. And I'm like, bro, it's just an idea at the moment. Do you think it's got legs? Do you think it's got legs? And he'll be, oh, but this won't work. This won't work. It's just a different way of thinking. But still, it's you don't find that in Hong Kong as much. Do you think that has the people you hang out with changed since starting your business, becoming a professional dancer than before?
Oh, yeah.
In what way?
Yeah. Okay, now I'm closer to people that are more like-minded. I would say a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that help me in my path. Like, for example, I have mentors. I have a lot of mentors. Like in whatever I want to become great at or good at, I have somebody that has experience and that tells me, okay, this is the way. Like this you're doing wrong, or this you could do better. So I have a vocal coach. I have a mentor in dancing. I have a mentor in the content creation. I have a therapist. I have like everything. Because by ourselves we cannot grow that fast, So I would say I definitely have people that help me to stay in the right direction. And even friends, I feel like it's important to have friends you can share the same topics, such as how can I grow? What are the things that I think I'm stagnating right now, I can change. So yeah, I think it's and not just business, I feel like also in relationships, it's good to have friends that tells you, hey, I think right now what you need is this, maybe try that. So I think it's good, yeah.
I think the role of mentors is incredibly important and mature. It's mature to know that you need help.
100%.
And it's actually can take some people a long time to get to that stage. Me, for example, I've only just started seeing a therapist, for example. I've only done 2 sessions, right? But it's a really huge step for me. Yeah. I've always known the importance of mental training because when I was a professional athlete myself, we did a lot of that. But that was, again, in the professional setup. Like it's mental training so that you can perform when you play rugby, or when you can perform on TV with pressure.
Yeah.
It's not like how are you going to enhance other ways of your life. And it's only been 2 sessions, but even that, I had to do homework. I got set an exercise, which was write down your dream day. In your perfect life, what's your dream day? And that's not sipping mimosas on a beach in Phuket. That's like in a typical day, on an average day. And don't give me 50% of your dream. Don't give me 99% of your dream. Give me 100% of your dream day. And I went straight away, went to a coffee shop, 2 hours writing this down in multiple iterations. And then it just became so clear, like what I value, because it's not just about I want money, I want time. It's like what do I actually value from this dream day? What is this giving me? And it's freedom of time, freedom of choice, freedom of people I work with. But it's not being on holidays. I want to build something. I want to work on something. But then based off of that, I'm now basing my life decisions off of my dream day. Like, what am I doing today to build towards that? What am I going to do a year from now to make sure that that's in line? So without that session, who knows how things would be different? Who knows if my perspective had or hadn't changed? I might have come to that realization by myself. But the importance of help cannot be understated in any aspect of life, 100%. I believe. So on that, looking forward to the future, and you're obviously very successful now, and you're doing amazing work. You know, success is subjective, right?
Yeah.
But what does success look like to you?
So you were talking about freedom, right? That's also a big thing that I'm working towards too. I definitely want freedom in, financial freedom. I'm going to say it. Like, everybody wants it. A lot of people want it. I want to make sure that things are running without me being physically present. So when I'm talking about business, for example. But I think success is my family being healthy, me being healthy, having good relationships with the people that I love, and having that base, like having an empire that is running 100%, and me being on stage and dancing and singing and doing interviews also,
Yes.
sharing my experience with other people, inspiring other people, keep expressing myself through all forms of art, dance, singing, art, acting, maybe painting, who knows, one day. I think it's really extending my possibilities, really keep stretching, keep growing in all types of way, and having the people that I love besides me. Yeah.
I think that's very important, because no matter how successful you get, if you're doing it alone and you're not with those that you love, then what's the point?
What's the point?
And I never want to lose touch of that myself either. Where feels like home to you?
Wow. Right now, currently, I would say Hong Kong, 100%. That's where I built myself. That's where I start everything from scratch. That's where I build my friends, my business, me as a human being. I feel like I have such a strong attachment to this place, a strong connection. This place believe in me, give me a lot of opportunities, so I'm like, it has a very special spot in my heart. Where is home? Same as you. Like, whenever I come back here, I feel relieved. I feel like safe. I feel comfortable. I feel like, of course, we're grinding every day, but still, there's that sense of peace, that I cannot have anywhere else. Yeah, home is Hong Kong, definitely. Yeah,
that's good. It's good to hear. So you've got no plans of leaving?
I don't think so.
Not in the near future.
Not in the future.
I want to talk more about you as a content creator.
Yeah.
Because I'm very interested in myself, selfishly. Was that always your intention when you were becoming a professional dancer? Okay, that's going to go hand in hand with being a content creator as well.
At first, to be honest with you, I was like, what is that? Like, why creating all, like, those TikTok dances? I was like, what the heck? This is not even dancing. I mean, no, it is dancing, but some extent is small dancing compared to what we do as professional. And then I was like, oh shit, it's becoming important. It's becoming essentials nowadays. Again, as I said, you gotta play the game. You gotta make sure that you understand how the word works and find your way to slide into it and take the most out of it, and build yourself Sorry, it doesn't make sense. But what I'm saying is that I had to force myself to get into it. 100%. At first, it was like, try. And then in the process, I started liking it because I started getting more confidence from just, for example, dancing on the streets.
I mean, I've seen a lot of your videos. So cool. But honestly, you know what I'm thinking when I'm watching them? I'm like, this is a sick video.
Thank you.
But wow, she's got confidence. Like she's to have the balls to do that. And because I can see you like dancing in the markets and people are like going out their way and like looking at you up and down. I'm like, this is a sick video. Like I love it.
Thank you so much. You know, I wasn't really thinking at that time. I was so focused on getting the video done. I was like, let me do it. And in the process, I was having so much fun because I'm like, girl, you crazy. And I am, and it's okay to be crazy. But I love it. I love it. And watching back all these videos, I'm like, oh girl, you've done so much. You can do even more, you know, this is nothing. And when people ask me, how do you do this? How do you put yourself on the street and start dancing? I'm like, I don't really care. You know what's the worst thing that can happen to me? Like somebody stops me and say, hey, stop dancing. Okay, good. I'm not gonna die from it, you know? So, and again, it gives me extra boost, extra confidence. So I'm gonna keep doing it, you know? And oh, it's so much fun. I love it. I love doing it now.
Do you still? What's the process? You're obviously the dancer, but then who's behind the camera? Is it just one person on camera
So at that time, it was COVID time. So it was just myself.
with a tripod? Love that.
Sometimes I just put a bottle on the floor and I put the phone on it. But most of the time, I was a bit more prepared. So I had my tripod, set it up, and then I look around, started playing the music, and then I was like, let's do it. And I started dancing.
So good.
I really don't care. And for me, it was like kind of freedom because, you know, it's not like you're home in your comfortable space. No, you're literally on the street expressing yourself, sharing with the people what you love doing the most. And it feels free, you know, it feels freeing, 100%.
And you've had some really good feedback from those videos. Like I was scrolling through your YouTube this weekend and,
Oh,
you know, a lot of the comments on those videos in particular are really, really positive. And because it's great, as I said, you watch a video like that, you're like, fuck, okay, she must be confident to do that, but she's obviously a good dancer and spreading a lot of positivity and people are enjoying the videos. So why not do it?
Yeah, why not?
I just want to see more. I just want to see more of them, like different scenes on the beach, all
Will
these
do.
different ones. Get it done. I've actually got a plan or an idea.
Okay.
So speaking to people like yourself and other content creators and going through YouTube, I really want to really get into YouTube. Like we post the podcast on YouTube as long form content, but I want to do my own. And so I'm going to start that process very soon. I've got plans in place. But what I want to do is do like month-long challenges where I meet people like yourself and I come to Mixies for a month. And the plan is to do a show at the end of the month and see the progress and see how uncomfortable I am on stage and in the academy. And this is really what I want to do. I don't think I'll be good, but I think I want to prove a point that with enough work and if you're dedicated to something for even a month, you can achieve something that you didn't think you'd be able to achieve. And especially when I'm watching videos of your Mixies classes, I'm like, this is a fucking vibe. This is so good. I mean, I watched a video last night and there was, it was mostly females, but then there was one guy, a relatively older guy, not old, but relatively older guy, but he's in the classes enjoying himself. And I'm like, yes, this could be sick. This is me. But anyway, that's a loose idea that I've come up with.
Please
But
come. Every month, the last Sunday of the month, we have, you know, that session called Showcase where we just we dress up and we show the choreo that we learned throughout the whole month. So it's definitely something that we can make it happen.
There we go. It's public now. I've got to do it. Hold me accountable. I love that. Who's your dream dance collab?
Wow. Wow. I mean, Michael Jackson, but he's no longer with us anymore.
It's a tough one. Okay, who's your dream dance collab that could happen?
Yeah, okay. That's That's a good question. Before, I was like, I really want to dance for that artist. I really want to be on the same stage as that person and everything. But now that I put the idea in my head that I can become that artist, things are different. I'm like, I'm going to be on stage and I'm going to have all the dancers that I love so much, that I really look up to, next to me, dancing with me. Could be my friends. It could be like dancers that I watched their Instagram and I was like, okay, that dude is crazy. Like, it's more that way now, you know. Yeah, I think differently.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
it's a good answer. It's a real mindset shift. You're like not becoming your own role model, but you realize what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And I asked the question because on your website there's an interview there which says, you know, if Rihanna comes calling, then obviously I'll go on tour with Rihanna. But I think that was actually like 3 or 4 years ago, that interview. And so I love hearing you talk about it now, and how that mindset has shifted in such a short space of time. Yeah, I love that. Hats off. How would you like to be remembered?
Wow. I love this question. I mean, it's challenging to answer, but someone that was fearless, for sure, that lived in the moment, that helped the community, someone that inspired other people to get out of their comfort zone, overcome their fear, someone, yeah, I hope that I can become the model to some kids that, you know, they didn't think, like, if they, you know, like when I was younger, for example, I told you that I didn't have really like a model around me. I was like, okay, that person, he was a civil engineer and he switched to dance and now he's gonna become an artist. No, I didn't have that. So if I can open the eyes of some people to really pursue what they really want to do, can be dancing or not, can be anything, then I'm already like feeling good, you know. So whenever I get feedbacks about people who's like, oh, I'm quitting my job, or I'm transitioning, or I'm thinking of doing that, I'm like, yeah, let's go. So I'm trying to create like actually a program where I can kind of like mentor people who want to transition careers, especially women in arts. And that's another side project that I'm working on. But I think that could be very impactful. Yeah. Yeah.
The importance of mentors.
Yeah.
And now you're at the stage where you can become one. It's pretty inspiring stuff. Before we finish, I need to ask you a very serious question.
Oh my God.
The Paris Olympic Games, breakdancing.
I know, I knew it.
There was breakdancing got viral overnight because of one woman, the Australian breakdancer.
Raygun.
What's your opinion on that whole thing?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm French. I'm direct. Okay. This is the Olympic Games. Okay, this is not just a battle or a show. It's the Olympic Games. So we're expecting to have the best athletes on earth, right? Currently, right now. As a professional dancer, I've seen battles. I'm not a break dancer, but I know how to, comment. I mean, watch a breakdance performance. I would say that I was quite surprised by her performance. um, I admire her confidence a lot, and that's something that people need to take note of. But I believe that maybe the technical abilities were not the best that we can see in Australia, for example. So shout out to you, Reagan, like for putting yourself out there and believing in yourself and pushing. But still, I think there's still more better breakdancers in Australia, and I've seen some. So I'm quite yeah, that's how I feel right now. Like,
Because it was like incredibly divided, right? When all that happened. So I thought, right, I'm speaking to a professional dancer. I need to ask
what is
a
your thought
legit
about
person's opinion. What did you think of the rest of the competition, as in the rest of the breakdancing in the Olympics?
I just love that Paris accepted breakdancing as a new discipline. Like, I just finally we are recognized as athletes, artists and athletes at the same time. For me, it was a big. I felt relief. I felt like, okay, yes, finally the day has come. So I just feel so proud to be a dancer. I feel like finally the world can see our art and maybe can get curious about it, and maybe we'll have more platforms and opportunities to, share what we love. So it was a big moment for me. And it was Paris, my city. So I'm so proud.
What did you think of the opening ceremony?
Ah.
Again, very mixed.
Very controversial. It was bold. It was definitely bold. I think, again, for me, I love the sense of freedom that Paris had through this performance. In a way, they pushed boundaries. They were not scared of getting people upset or angry through some controversial pictures that they had. So I'm not mad at it. I would say let's open our mind. The same way Regan came on stage and we saw her performance, her breakdancing performance. Let's open our mind. Let's see what is the good thing out of it. And at the end of the day, it's art for me, So there's no boundaries. It's just you interpret the way you want. But for me, I quite liked it, actually.
I loved it. I love the opening ceremonies. I was skeptical at first, but then watching it with my French wife, I was convinced that I now love it. Because, as you say, it was breaking boundaries. It was so unique. The only thing that frustrated me, well, two things. If you saw a weather map of France during the opening ceremony, the only pocket of rain was above Paris for 4 hours. And so that was a shame.
Shit.
But then also I thought the camera direction and everything could have been a lot better, and the production, because what was actually being shown wasn't a true reflection, I don't think, of what was happening. But anyway, I didn't even write those questions out. I just needed to ask you about your thoughts on the dancing in the Olympic Games. Okay, so as I said to you before the podcast, this is it's called Abnormal. It's a podcast for normal people who want to do abnormal things. So we're hoping that people are listening, they're listening to you, they're listening to our other guests, and they're realizing, okay, she's very successful, she's a role model, but she wasn't always like this. At some point in her life, Anisha had to be bold and make a change and take a risk, which you've shown and you've spoken about. You've taken many risks, and a lot of them have paid off. I'm sure a lot of risks you take in the future might not pay off, but hopefully they keep paying off and you have a great long career, and I'm sure you will. But for the people listening, what's the one piece of advice you would give to those looking to do something abnormal in their lives?
Start now. First of all, you need to have that sense of urgency to create that momentum and get the ball rolling. 100%. I think that's something that a lot of us, we think we have time. We think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. But actually, sometimes you don't need to think. Just say 1, 2, 3 and start now. It can be little action. It can be just finishing that video or calling that person, but start now, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you got to really make the most of every single moments, minutes, live in the now. For me, that's my biggest piece of advice. And also, have fun in the process, you shouldn't be always strict and harsh and life is hard. My mom always tell me, life is hard, you need to work hard, everything. No, mom. Yeah, it's hard, but I'm having fun also, Yeah. And as you mentioned, I think asking for help is something very important. That's something that I've always struggled with because I'm independent. I can do this by myself, blah, blah, blah. But actually, no, we need mentors, we need friends, we need even family we can talk to, share our feelings with, So surround yourself with a good circle of friends that you can grow with along the way. Yeah.
Fantastic advice. And I think a lot of people will resonate with that. And it's scary to hear if someone's listening and looking to make a change in their lives, someone like you telling them to start now. It's scary, right? But if it's not scary, then you're not thinking big enough. And sometimes the things people need to hear aren't necessarily the things that they want to hear in the moment. So I think that's really, really great advice. Anisha, thank you so much for coming on Abnormal. It has been such an awesome conversation with you. It's been one, as I told you, it was my wife that recommended to reach out to you, and what a very good recommendation. It gives me a lot of confidence speaking to someone like you who trained as a civil engineer, and then made that huge leap of faith and to realize your dream. And not really a leap of faith, actually, because you're confident in your own abilities. You believe in yourself, you're hardworking, you're dedicated, you're disciplined. And so for someone like me, hearing your story, honestly, incredibly, incredibly inspiring. Inspires me to make a change now, today, and see what happens. So, and I cannot wait to watch from afar and see, you know, the positive change you affect in the world as you grow your story, grow your business, Mixies. Hopefully, I'll be in there one day doing the lessons, and once we get kick off this YouTube. And I cannot wait to, I cannot wait to follow your story and see you continually grow and affect change. So thank you for coming on Abnormal. It's been a pleasure to get to know you.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
So cool.
Thank you so much. You spoke. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Abnormal Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to on right now, as it really goes a long way to growing the show. Thank you, and see you in the next one.